Okay, so I thought I'll do a short Ventuz tutorial, or not tutorial, but make something anyway and record it. But so let's get started. We're going to be using some audio, so I'm going to use my microphone I'm speaking with. So we need to, before we start Ventuz up, we need to launch the configuration editor. So once you've got your configuration editor open, you can either create a new profile or you can use an existing one. So I'm just going to use my existing one with the cogwheel. And you can see you got inputs and outputs. So here you got inputs if you have, like, say for example NDI feeds, webcams, so on, you know, different feeds and different sources you can bring in. These are the, if you want audio, you click on audio here and then you can check your device. Right now I'm using the RTX voice. It just removes the background. It's an additional driver because I have RTX card, so it just removes the background noise. But here's my mic, so if I wanted to direct it from my mic, I could check that, but I'm routing my mic through this RTX voice. But if you don't have another driver, you could just go straight direct to your hardware like this and just check it and then hit save. So now you can launch Ventuz up. What I'll do is just make a simple character, cartoon character. Nothing fancy, just like a little digital screen that talks, you know. So let's try create that. Let's see. So we need to create a little face. So let's get an axis. Let's get a geometry circle. Sorry. And scale this up. So this is one eye. So you can rename it. You can L eye, left eye. You know, I'll just position it somewhere here for now, and I'll duplicate this by control dragging down and right click, and now I'll edit this name. So right eye, and you see where it says minus, I just remove the minus and have them evenly spaced. Just take the last value and then remove the minus, then they'll be in the same position. So we've got two eyes, so we can animate this in a bit later. Let's make a mouth. So we want a mouth. So how are we going to create a mouth shape? Let's do another circle. So an axis. Let's get a circle. Now we could have the mouth. We could maybe change the value like that. It kind of looks meh. Maybe we play around with the values. Let's see. Oh, we can even animate the mouth using the hole. I mean, we can experiment. We can make different versions. Yes. Let's see. Maybe 180. Let's do the alignment top. So now if we scale it, perhaps we'll do something like that. We can check where the axis point is, where we want to move it. So if we click here, go to scaling center and just move that Y. Maybe we want to just go change that to center. With the interruption. So anyway, I'll change that back to center. Let's check where the center point is on this. Just make sure. If I scale it, actually it's probably better to do center in. Yeah, leave it at center. Ignore my last. But if you want to change the pivot point of a scale, like the scaling point, you can edit the scale center or the rotation center if you want it to pivot or rotate on a specific axis. You can offset the pivots. Alright, so say we wanted this value here to drive. As I speak, we want this mouth to talk. So blah 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 whatever, you know. So we need to get that value. We need the value from the microphone. So if we go to audio, sound, so the sound tab in toolbox, the analyze audio, and drag it into your content window. And you can see here the data, because there's lots of data going on and it's chaos, right? So we'll keep it really simple. If we go here where it says scope, I'm going to change this to VU meter. Okay, and then this, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Logographic. I don't know. I can't pronounce it, but just check this. There we go. Now, as I speak, I stop speaking, it will go to 0. And when I start to speak, it goes from 0 to 1 maximum. Sorry for the scream, but you'll see. There you go. So you can see 0 to 1 data, which is really easy for us to use now. So all I can do is take the scale and say, well, 1 is my max and 0. Or maybe, I don't want it maybe 0 because it disappears, but we maybe want it something like 0.4. But we will use the clipper, you'll see in a second. So let's just drag down. Now as I speak, you can see the math moves, which is cool, right? Really easy, simple. Now you can get a clipping node. So you have a little bit of control. And where it says 0, maybe you want it to be 0.5. So as we stop speaking, it's half a mouth. If we want it smaller, 0.2, 0.1. So that's me speaking, not speaking, you know. And then if I want to increase this, blah 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 blah, depending on how loud it gets. There you go. I'll leave it at 1 for now, or maybe 1.5. That's like kind of school works. Cool. Now as you can see, it's got a little bit of jitter, so you can might fix this. We can change maybe the fall off, maybe put it 80% or something. And then I want to maybe add an let's try to see what an oscillator does in between. So let's add an oscillator here. Now it's going to be really bouncy, so I'll just change that to maybe like 10. There we go. Now it's a bit smoother. It's not bouncy, but it's nice and smooth as I talk. There we go. So now let's apply some material to this. So color, I'm going to apply it to the whole group. I'm going to say no light. Okay. Add texture. Base with alpha. And under loader, I will go to get this circle. Let's get this circle here. I want like an LED look. And we're going to change the UV mapping. So mapping, 2D mapping, UV 0. Under scale, oh, mixture before we do that. Change the clamp to wrap. There we go. And then under scale, we'll scale this down. So we get this like LED grid look. There you go. Now we've got color. Look at this nice LED screen. You can change the colors later. But we could also change it. Maybe we change it depending on how the value goes. So let's maybe try that. We can experiment. So let's get HSV. I want to use HSV. And let's take that color base into the HSV. So I want it to go from, so is it 100 and 0? That's the only values I want to change really. Right. And we want to link it to this audio value. So if I shift and select that axis with the audio, I can rename this axis mouth as well, so I know that's the mouth. There. Take that HSV and link it to the audio. Now, nothing's happening. You can see because it's going from 0 to 1, so you need a clipping node in between. So we know the minimum and maximum 0 to 1, but we want it to be 0 to 100. So as I talk, it starts to change colors. Okay, now what can we use in between? I just want it to jump, so I don't want it to to like count up. So let's try to figure out what we can do. Or perhaps linear node. Linear node in between. So I'll place the linear node between the clipping and the HSV, which is a nicer transition, but this is the wrong way around, so I'll need this from 100 to 0. So 100 is green and red is when you get louder. There you go, slightly goes red. But you can change that speed, so maybe say 0.2. There we go. Hello. There you go. And you can play around with that, so maybe 0.5. Testing microphone. Hello. So the color's changing. We're moving the graphic. Now let's make the eyes work. So let's make the eyes kind of react. Now we could just have them animated or whatever. Or maybe we add some little mask or something. I don't know. See. Let's just get a axis. A rectangle. Okay. Now I want this to have its own material, so I'm going to place that on there. Color, so it'll be black. Make sure this is not parented to that. Okay, I'm going to position this just above the eyelid. There we go. Now I'm going to change the line to top. So now if I scale the Y, I want it just to kind of like a blink. So it's like blinking. Maybe something like that. It blinks, you know. Okay. So let's get a mover. And we want to take that value, so the Y, so we're at 0.32. That's our minimum, and our maximum, for example, let's say 0.64. So I'll just place that in, and I want this as I want it to swing, but I want it as one shot. Take that Y value, link it to the mover, so when you hit the nudge, it blinks, right? Now I could say I want this like absolute, and it'll just do that absolute, but there's no pause. Like I don't want it constantly blinking like that. So what I can do is use a one shot and get a second mover and say link that nudge to this mover and say every 6 seconds blink, you know, so it blinks every 6 seconds. There we go. Cool. And what I can do is take this, duplicate that, shift it across. Now every 6 seconds that's going to blink. Now if I want to change that duration of that blink, now all I have to do is just edit this mover and say maybe that's 2 second blink, so it's not as fast, you know. You can experiment. Maybe you want to try sine or cosine or whatever, you know. You experiment. I'll just leave it as linear. That seems to be working. Okay, so these materials here, I'm going to do is use just one. So control and drag that in front. Oh, there we go. Get rid of that material. There we go. I thought I deleted it. Delete that. And make sure this is at no light. So it's no light and then it's black. Now we've got this nice blinking animation. And what we could actually do is we can collapse this maybe to one mover. So instead of that one going to there, we take that Y value to the same one and they blink at the same time. So we don't need these two movers. So we just simplified it. So this controlling now one. Or you could have them individual if you wanted to offset the blinking. There you go. And we've got a little blinking animation. the mouth is reacting as we speak and the color is changing. So now let's put this, we want to use this, say, on like put it on a texture or a face or something, you know, give it a bit more something rather than it just being floating in space. So what I'm going to do is go to my 3D layer, and under layout, was it under layout? Yeah, under layout, full screen, where it says full size, change it to off screen render target. So we'll turn that scene into a texture, and what we'll do is, this is our face, name that face, and here we make a new layer. This was going to be our 3D, a new 3D scene layer, sorry, a new 3D layer, not scene, it's like a scene, it's a layer, but get an axis, we want a material, so I'm going to get a solid color and geometry. So you can choose any geometry you want, it doesn't matter. I'll just use a cube for now and scale this up nice and big, so it's nice and big. And what we want to do is apply the face texture to this cube. So the way you do it, if you click on your material, add a texture, so also texture base, and on the loader where it says texture properties, click default, and what it will do is it will give you a texture property but it's blank. And what you want to do is expose this out, so just by clicking the little button here, expose this out. And if you click on your two layers now, the face and the 3D layer, what you can do is you'll see here on your 3D layer that texture now is exposed. You could name that if you want as well, rename this so it's something more obvious, but we only got one texture that's exposed out. So I'm going to drag this to my face, and now you'll see if I go back to my 3D scene, it is now mapped to my cube, which is cool. Now I can change the texture property so it treats it as a texture, like a flat texture, so you know you can do all your UV mapping and scale it up and down, make it big and small, you know. So if you want to say, okay, advanced border, you know, we want, do we have clamp on, or I hope we don't. Anyway, but yeah, as you can see, I don't know why it's on all faces because the clamp is on. Anyway, it could be just the UV mapping, but hey, what I'm going to do is for this, scale it. I know you're going to see the sides, but hey, it doesn't matter. 0.2 for now. We're going to look at it face on. Add a bevel the radius. There we go. Change the scale UV mapping a little bit. Now I'm a bit worried why it is wrapping, because I don't want it to wrap. Advance. Border. It's repeating the texture, I'm not sure. Oh, there you go. And no, I can still see it repeating on each trace, it's weird. Let me check the texture on here. Flat, dice. Maybe that helps. Let's see. Yeah, changing that to dice seems to fix it, so it doesn't. Let's rotate this cube. Yeah, so just change it to dice, and then where we set it to border, we go into the little color. You see what the alpha is? Just change it to 0. Or you can change it to black. Just change it to black. Change the color to black and the border to 0. There you go. Now it's mapped on. We don't have anything on the back face. Let's click on our material again. Go to texture. Let's add a decal. So I want to add something glossy on top. So just go to like 3D mapping, wall space reflection. Loads of texture, and it could be anything. Anything can be like a hydra image or whatever you have. Can be like something like this glow orb thing, or Whatever you want, just to make it nice and glossy. I might go for something like this. There we go. So as I speak, right now we can't see it because this decal is solid. So you got the percentage here. You can bring this down if you want. You can also go here and change the operations and change the blend modes on that. Maybe you want to experiment with that and see which one works best. So maybe screen, or let's see what else. We might get a better one. Say hard light, no. Oh, operation. In light, no. I think we'll stick with which one did I just choose? The screen. We'll stick with screen. Okay. And on the material as well, you want to change that maybe from no light to fond or something. And then add that. Leave it as white actually because that texture will change. But you can change the specular, tweak that. Choose how sharp it is. Bump that up a bit. There you go. Maybe you want to increase that tessellation on the bevel so this bit's a bit smoother. There you go. And we've got this little talking character. What we can do is just add a final thing, post effects to the 3D layer here. Okay. Effects. Add the glare. You can get nice little glow there. Bam. Cool. Whoa. There we go. Anyway, hopefully that was some use. It wasn't too long, hopefully. You can see it's nice and glossy. What you want to do as well, maybe on that decal, is just turn the clamp to wrap. And then you can play around with the scaling. You know, try out different things, maybe rotate in one way and scale it, and you get all kinds of glossy looks. You know, you can try different materials on that. There we go. If I want now, I can duplicate this and have multiple ones. Now you'll see the texture is missing, so it'll say, oh, the texture property is missing. What you can do is you can either link it, expose that and link to the main one, or you can just take it from the existing first one. You could say, okay, I want this texture. So I believe you can do it like that. There you go. And then it assigns it to both now. And now I've got two of them. I can position them differently, you know. There we go. Hopefully this is some use. Thank you again. Enjoy your day. Apologies I didn't have any videos yesterday. I will try my best to do more. When I was a bit busy, I was working on something else, another project, and I wasn't feeling too well. But yeah, now I'm just messing around. As you can see, I'm just putting some random stuff in. Random. There we go. But yeah, you can see you can create all kinds of fancy effects. And if you want, you can have that mover. There. Put that on the little mover. There you go. Anyway, thank you again. Wait, that looks kind of cool as well. Hey, it's kind of cool effect. Little sunflower, but hey, you know, can keep on adding. Put to the gradient in the background. Do 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 do. Bye bye.